I might sound like a crazy person today in this episode, but it's all for the greater good, so bear with me. My name is Lucy, and this is the Clarity Podcast, episode 6. And today I want to talk about speaking to yourself and talking to yourself. And I'm going to start with saying that talking to yourself is not crazy. It is, in fact, the most helpful method of processing that is so overlooked and probably not even considered. There's been a narrative created about it that if you talk to yourself, you're losing your mind or you're going crazy, and it's become something that's synonymous with losing your marbles. And if you see someone speaking to themselves, then they've lost it. But it couldn't be further from the truth. And I could quite easily start discussing why I think that narrative has been put out there, but I'm not going to speculate because that could start touching on conspiracy theory topics, and I'm not sure if everyone's ready for that yet. So one day maybe we'll go there. I'm just going to focus on the fact that you can do this if you want to. You have free will, which is a nice little theme that's been running throughout my episodes so far, completely unintentionally, but it's true. You have the free will to navigate your life in any way that you want, using any method that you want that helps you to enjoy life more. And that's kind of what hit home for me when I stumbled across this, a time when my mind was so full and racing so much. I had thousands of tabs open. I had so many heightened emotions. And I was in the thick of a difficult time with 1,000 things to do that were important. And I'm a very analytical person. I can't just think simply the way that some other people may be able to do. And so my head felt like a balloon that was about to pop. And I thought, I don't know how I'm going to continue like this. I don't know how to quieten my mind in a way that is sustainable for me to consistently practice. If you have listened to my previous episodes, you will have heard that I had a crazy transcendent epiphany one day, and I started channeling my guides, and it was in that moment that this came through for me. So if you haven't listened to them already, you can go back and listen. The episode is called Unconditional Love. And it came through to me that I should start speaking like this more, start speaking out loud more. And I remember thinking, oh my gosh, if someone sees me right now, walking past this house, looking into my window, and they see me talking to myself, people are going to think I'm crazy. And the message came through that no, it's actually got nothing to do with that. It's actually one of the most beneficial things you can do for yourself. So I embraced it. I listened to my inner voice. I listened to the intuition to continue doing it. And I just started speaking about everything that was in my mind. The exact same way that you run through thoughts in your head, phrases, sentences, things to do, why you think something, that monologue that is happening in your head. I didn't change that. I just spoke it out loud. And all of a sudden, air was let out of the balloon. And I had space in my brain, and it was that instant. It was that quick. As the words started coming out of my mouth, I was barely a few sentences in, And I felt peace, and I felt like I could breathe, and I was able to process the thoughts. I'm no psychologist yet, but I think what happens is when you speak about them, the mind seems to focus on the one thing that you're speaking about. And so I don't feel as though you can speak and have the dialogue running in your head at the same time. You can think multiple thoughts at once, and that's what's overwhelming. But when you speak it, it's like it just focuses on that one thought at that time. And as you're saying it out loud, you process it in a different way. It kind of becomes real. It becomes more solid. It becomes a state of actuality rather than just something buzzing around in your head. And then once you've said it, whether it's something that needs an answer, or whether it's a statement, or whether it's an opinion, whatever it is, you can decide if it's true or not, if it's relevant or not. You can answer it if it needs an answer. You can remove it if it's no longer helpful. You can respond to it. You can process it in a different way that allows it to leave your mind entirely. Let's say it's something about an overwhelming emotion. And for me, something that I've struggled with quite a lot is guilt around motherhood. So if I felt guilty for something, maybe I hadn't cooked the best meals that day, and I process that by saying it, "Oh, I feel like a crap mum because I've not made the best nutritious meals today." I can hear it in a way that isn't an alarm bell in my mind, but it's something that I can look at objectively and say, you've done the best you can. Today is just one of those days. Not every day is going to be the same. And I can respond to it in a healthier way and actually have this dialogue with myself to process it as though I was hearing it from another person. I'm sure we've all been there where we give advice that we can't take ourselves, but speaking out loud allows you to hear it as though it's from someone else and give yourself the advice that you would give, rather than it just being you on your own in your mind with it. And so I think there's so much to be said for speaking out loud. So I invite you to start doing it, even if it's just when you're on your own. Just start speaking what's in your head. I don't need to give you any instructions. Just start speaking out into the ether what is running through your head at any given time. And I pray that the same thing happens for you, that the weight of the world on your shoulders and the tabs that are screaming at you in your mind just start to fall away a little bit. And you can start to process things. It feels like you're ticking them off when you speak them out loud. It feels like this never-ending to-do list of thoughts and ideas and questions and opinions and wonders all get seen to if you speak them out loud, rather than them all just being busy in your head, waiting for attention, waiting for you to give them some time in your mind. But if you speak them out loud, they get seen to. You can strike them off the list. You've dealt with them almost. So see if that helps you. If you're anything like me with a brain that is just on overdrive completely 1000% of the time. See if it helps. And then, if it does, just simply continue to do it. And if you feel like you can't do it in front of other people, ask yourself why. Why have we created this narrative that actually allows us to develop our brains and our minds? And who says we shouldn't be able to do that? It's funny, so many people say, oh, I just talk to myself while I'm working, just ignore me. Or don't worry about me, I'm just talking to myself while I'm doing the cooking. There's a reason why we innately turn to speaking to ourselves when we need to focus or when we need to concentrate on a task, it's because it's helpful. And we can apply that to every other area in our life. It doesn't just have to be while we're on the laptop or while we're reading instructions to set up a flat pack from IKEA. We can actually use this with every aspect of our lives, our personal lives, every thought that we have. And it will help us to learn ourselves better and discover things about ourselves and give our mind the time of day and the concentration that it deserves, but in a really easy way. And free up our mind to give ourselves mental rest. And then when you are able to acquire mental rest, you're able to see the world differently, through a different lens of space, giving yourself space to see the world. You might be driving down the road one day and realize you've not got a million tabs open and think, oh my gosh, I've actually got nothing to worry about. This is really nice, just driving and not having to think about anything. That happened to me the other day, and I realized it's because I've been practicing this method for a while now. So that's the first part of what I would invite you to do to try and help your mind in some way. And the second part to this is that once you start to do that, if you become accustomed to it and it starts to be implemented into your daily life and your family are welcoming it and they don't think you're crazy, then you can actually even go a stage further and start to decipher the different voices within your own mind. I told you I was going to sound crazy today, didn't I? Everybody has different parts of their brain, and we all have the same. We have the self, we have the persona, we have the ego, we have the inner critic, and we have the higher self, which is your intuition, your inner voice. That's how I've categorized them through all the studying that I've done. A few people may put different ideologies to them, but essentially you have those main voices in your mind. And a lot of people don't realize that. They think it's just one voice. So when you're questioning whether you should do something or make a decision and it's an important decision and you listen to the voice in your head that's saying, oh, I don't think you should do that because XYZ, that's actually not you. That's your ego or your inner critic. Oh no, you can't do that because you're not good enough, remember? You're not able to do that because you tried that in school and everyone laughed, so no, stay clear away from that. Or there might be a voice in your head when someone asks you to do something that says, oh, I really don't want to do that today. But you ignore it and you say, yeah, no, that's fine, I'll do it. Because you're thinking of the other person and you don't want to let anybody down. That's your inner voice that you're ignoring. There's an array of different voices and personas in your head. And once you start to be able to speak to yourself out loud more and start to understand your mind more, you can actually start to differentiate between the different voices. Now, I'm pretty sure everybody is going to be slightly different with this, so I don't want to state that how I've learned to differentiate the voices is how you're going to receive it. But as an example, my ego speaks in questions. That's what I learned to differentiate. So if I wanted to do something or I was making a decision about something, it would say things like, well, how are you going to make money from that? Or what would everybody think though? And I started to realize that it spoke to me in questions. And I started to realize that the inner critic and the ego also both spoke to me in the third person. So they spoke to me as you, as opposed to I in the first person. My intuition, however, speaks to me in only statements, and she says I. She says we, she says I, she says me. And she feels really centered. And that's another thing you might be able to differentiate when you start studying this within yourself, is that they will feel a certain way. The different voices will feel differently within your body, and you can start to tune into your body and actually feel where they're coming from. I had this conversation with a friend last year, and I said, "Oh, my inner voice is here." And she said, "Yeah, you need to like really tune into your body." And I said, "Oh no, it's all in my mind." And she went, "No, you just pointed to an area on your body and you said you feel her here." And I was hovering my hand over my heart. And I said, "Oh my gosh, yeah, I didn't even realize I'd done it." Again, not everybody is going to be the same, so I don't want you to take this and feel like it's not working for you if it doesn't happen the same way. But you will notice some patterns as you start to tune into yourself in your mind. And I think something really important to mention here is that we have to welcome all of these voices and all of these parts of our mind. They're not there to hurt us or shut us down or to disagree with one another on purpose. They have been put there because of survival, and they are human. They are a part of us, they are a part of our DNA. Ego is there to protect us, to keep us safe. Inner critic is a part of our shadow that we have to learn to integrate, and our inner voice is our soul. It's our higher self speaking to us, the one that knows best, the one that knows all, the one that knows us in all of our timelines. And so they are all deserving and worthy to be in our mind. It's just learning who to listen to in certain times. It's all about sitting with yourself and your mind when you get a chance to, and starting to really try and learn and discover yourself. And this is a huge, huge way of self discovery and self reflection as well. Because the more you start to actually learn the thoughts that you're having in the mind that you have, you learn so much about yourself, and you're able to actually start noticing patterns and behaviors as well within your own psyche, which is shadow work, which is development, which is ascension. So I invite you to start trying to tune into the different parts of your psyche. Start listening to the different aspects. Start feeling where they feel. Start listening to whether they're questions or statements. Start listening to the language that they're using. Start trying to notice some patterns. You could even journal about it. And you don't need to have all the time in the world. This is something you can just be doing while you're driving, while you're washing the dishes, while you're folding the laundry, while you have 5 minutes to yourself, while you're in the bath. I think it's a really, really incredible method of processing and learning yourself. And I would love, 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 love to know if you are the same as me, or if not, what happens for you. How do your psyche speak to you? How does your mind speak to you? How do your thoughts come through? Have you been able to decipher between the different parts of your mind? Is it helpful for you? I would love to know. So, as always, I really hope it helps and contributes to the healing of the world. My name's Lucy. This has been Clarity, and I will see you on the next one.